Strange circumstances continue to swirl around the Las Vegas shooting 4 months ago. Here's the latest. The Clark County coroner has refused to release the autopsies of 58 shooting victims in response to a court order. It did release them, but it refused for some reason to release the autopsy of shooter Stephen Paddock. The coroner claims the autopsy is still being finalized even after all this time. Dr. Michael Baden is a forensic pathologist, and he joins us tonight. Doctor, this seems like a very weird explanation, or maybe it's not. You've got perspective. Tell us.
Well, coroners and medical examiners have always got to obey judicial orders, period. It may be in a situation where the autopsy findings may be important in a criminal investigation that the district attorney, or in this case the FBI, asked to hold off the release so it doesn't interfere with their investigation. But that sounds very unlikely in this situation.
Well, I mean, they're saying this was a single shooter event, and they haven't suggested there's anything outlandish that we don't know about. So what could possibly be the connection between the autopsy results and the continuing investigation? That's confusing.
That sounds like, especially when the body has been cremated, as I understand, so that I can't think of a reason under these circumstances where all the other autopsies have been released as a result of the judicial order, the court order, why this one wouldn't be.
What would we learn, do you think, of interest from an autopsy?
Well, it's interesting when you have 58 people die, visually seen to have been shot. Why do autopsies at all? Well, one of the reasons is to recover all the bullets that have been fired and to find if there's a bullet that came from a weapon that wasn't in the possession of the shooter. To see if there was a second shooter, possibly, would be one of the reasons. The bullet we leave behind is the bullet that comes from a different gun. So that's one of the reasons for the autopsy. The others, in some jurisdiction, not everybody is autopsied if the shooting is obviously causes the death. In this situation, in my opinion, all bodies should be autopsied, and all the injuries identified, and issues will come up of conscious pain and suffering when there's litigation, for example, and the cause of death are important because one of the things that would immediately come to mind, maybe some people died of the stampede getting out rather than of the bullet.
Of course, but but in the case of the shooter, I mean, we've been told by authorities he was the only one in the hotel room, he was the only one firing the weapon, and he died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Why? I mean, those seem like the key questions. So what else could they be? They're hiding the autopsy. What would possibly, can you speculate, what would be their motive for that?
Well, the only thing is if there were some issues, and they're doing some studies on the brain of the decedent, with all the information now coming out about childhood trauma, was there some brain issue that may have been contributed to his bizarre behavior, and they may still be looking for certain special stains and chemical analysis of the brain. That could be a reason that it's not completed. But usually the reason that autopsies are not immediately released to the next of kin is to do the chemical analyses to find is there any toxicological reason why. But in this situation, the time has passed now since October 1st that any toxicological examination
that's a couple weeks.
Could have been done. So it's unlikely that there's a really good reason not to release the Paddock to the next of kin, not necessarily to the
no, I get it. There's
public,
something weird going
the next
on, though.
Of kin.
Dr. Baden, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Good to talk to you, Tucker.
Thanks.